like you. Be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one. Only one. I was an ordinary boy until I broke the rules. A life destroyed until I woke awake. Scream my mind, I shout, the ground shakes. How much can I take? My mind will break. Will it break? Can I take? Can I be your superhero? Superhero.
How's the audio sound? The level's right. Turn it down slightly. I'm trying music as a new thing, so if it's too loud, let me know. Let's try that. I think that balance is right, but you'll have to let me know. How is everyone today? Everyone ready to write some code? Well, we're not writing any code yet. We've got some planning to do. In fact, let's... Ooh, Bing. Do you know what, music? Let's pause the music, because it's got lyrics and it could be distracting. Oh, internet's being slow. Oh, there we go. Trello. I want the app, because we're going to do some planning. Why it's loaded... Oh, I don't know. So let's just load it in our browser. Go on Twitter feed, we can go on Trello.com. We're going to do some planning. But we need to decide first. So, the plan is, if you saw my poll that I started after my last stream, we are going to be starting a brand new app, because that's what won on the poll. I asked what people wanted to do, and so we are going to start again. So what do we think? I'm open to ideas. I've got an idea, but of course, you know, the whole point of the stream is that we'll do this together. We'll start from scratch. We'll do App Center for CI. We'll do Xamarin.Forms. We'll plan it properly. You know, we're going to try and do it right. So it's a group effort. So I just, any suggestions I'm open to for what we do. We'll keep it fairly straightforward for now. You know, our MVP will be something pretty basic, but we'll see how we go. So, my current idea is something weather related. So, if you aren't aware from watching watching my Twitter, if you don't follow me on Twitter or you've not seen the tweet yet, I have been asked to speak. I'm very honoured. I've been asked to speak at Microsoft's .NET Conf Focus on Xamarin event on the 23rd of March, which is at 9 PM GMT, 1 PM PST, and I suppose, is it 4 PM East Coast? And I'm going to be doing a Xamarin mobile development for ASP.NET developers talk. And it's just going to be doing, a few side-by-side comparisons like app.xaml.cs versus startup.cs and stuff like that. But when you do a new ASP.NET Core web API project from .NET New in the command line, it generates you a uses a template which gives you a weather forecast controller. So I'm just thinking that, you know, we could do something with weather and a sort of a... It wouldn't be out of the box because the Xamarin templates don't have weather. You can have... you can pick some templates that use... certain, like, start with maybe a master detail page, which is like a side menu, and then you click it and it brings out the details and the bigger one on the right. And there's Shell, which is a navigation framework. So it's not a specific type of project, it's just that you use a XML file to declare the navigation. So you tell it what pages you want and what type of menu you want them to. Oh, say, Hurricane's here, everybody. How are you, Hurricane, my friend? I think you're my only viewer at the moment, so we can have a bit of one-on-one time when you don't have to lurk. It's nice to have you here. Well, welcome back. I don't know if you saw my tweet earlier, but I talked about the fact that I was streaming again today because one of my favourite streamers had an impromptu stream last Monday, and that was you, my friend. I wasn't going to miss your stream, let alone clash with it. So now that you're not streaming today, we are live. I'm not sure if you were here before I mentioned, if you joined after I mentioned this, but the aim of today's stream, after the poll from my last stream, is to start a new Xamarin.Forms project. But I'm just waiting for some suggestions. So, as I announced on Twitter over the weekend, I'm speaking at .NET Conf for Xamarin, which you already know because I told you, at the end of March, but it's kind of Xamarin development for ASP.NET developers, so there'll be a bit of comparison. And so one of the things I'm thinking of doing is we can maybe work on a weather app on stream. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I need to put a code sample together for this, so I'm wondering whether we could do it on here. But I'm open to suggestions. We can do something else. This is a group project. It's not quite mob programming because only I've got the keyboard and mouse, but we're going to do it together, so I'm open to suggestions. Okay, we can do that. Okay, so the reason I picked weather, and I'll show you from here, in fact, bring up terminal. So I'm in the new Windows terminal. This is PowerShell Core. Let me just show you it. There we go. So we're going to go back one. So what we'll do now then is we'll just create a new directory. So we'll my first weather API. So all I'm doing at the moment is just creating my first, creating the ASP side of it, because you'll see what I mean about why I'm choosing weather if you've not seen it before. If it's still just you, Corey, I know that you would have seen this, but for those that don't, in case they're watching the recording, because this does get recorded and shared, I moved from Mac and OBS streaming to PC and Streamlabs for my last stream, and I forgot that you have to click the record button first. So the last one will only be on Twitch for a bit, but this week we're good. It's going to be recorded. So, focus. So we're going to do, we've got the project, we're in there, so now we actually need to make it. So if we do .NET new, and we want to make an ASP.NET not MVC, Web API, .NET Core Web API, and so it's, you just call Web API. If you ever want to know, you can just do .NET new and it'll give you a list. Hey Andreas, nice to see you. So just to catch you up quickly, so we're just doing I'm going to be doing a weather app as part of what I'm going to show during my talk at the .NET Conf Focus on Xamarin event, but I'm just explaining why I picked weather. So my talk's going to be Xamarin development for ASP.NET developers, so it'll just be a bit of side-by-side comparison to a degree, but I want to show you why I'm doing weather. So .NET new Web API. So if you see here, .NET Core Web App. You can do Web App or as Web API. What's the difference? That's a good question. What is the difference? Oh, there you go. .NET Core Web API. Do you want Web API or Web App? Oh, there's a question. Okay. So I automatically just do Web API, and I know that Web API gives me what I want. But do we want a Web API or do we want a web app? Yeah, Razor Pages. I don't want Razor Pages. Absolutely, it's going to be Web API. So we're going to stick to what I know. Yeah, Corey, yeah. Cool. Yeah, so as Corey says, for the Xamarin.Forms, you want the Web API. So it's not necessarily that we're going to be calling the Web API from our Xamarin project. It's more that I just want to create a new Web API project because I happen to know what they put in the solution, which is weather, which you'll see. So we've got our new project, but at the moment we just get a CS proj file and then obviously all the other bits it needs. So what we want to do first of all is actually make a solution. So if we just do .NET new SLN, because we want a solution file, so we can open it in Visual Studio. Because I know some people like doing Visual Studio Code, and I love it for some things. But when it comes to anything where I want to click F5, Visual Studio is my friend. So we'll just wait for that to finish. What's it doing? Oh, it's thinking about it. Cool, there we go. So it's created the solution, but now we actually need to add them. So all this stuff is here, and we'll go through it in a minute when it's actually in Visual Studio. But at the moment, this solution has nothing in it. They're not associated together. So what we need to do is tell the solution to add that CS proj. You could do it from Visual Studio if you wanted to, but I find it easier to do it before you then open the solution. So if we do .NET SLN, it's going to be just tab until we get to a solution. There we go. And then it's going to be add, and then we want to add the CS proj. So there you go. So it's .NET SLN, the solution file name, add, and then the CS proj file. Cool. That'll do that. So then all we have to do now is click that, and it'll open Visual Studio. Boom. So let's just wait for it to load. Don't worry about Team Explorer. Okay. So you can't zoom in, so I apologise for this. Oh, okay. Do you know what? We're going to move the chat box because you can't see it. This is just temporary. I'm just moving it while I go through this. So you've got a solution and you've got the project. So this is the API that we made. So it gives you all the stuff straight away. But immediately you see the word weather because we have a weather forecast class. So you get the date, temperature in Celsius and Fahrenheit. Cool. And you also get the controller. So you get a weather forecast controller, which just returns to you some data. So if we ran that up now, you'll see what we get out the box. But that's the key here, is out the box. The reason I'm picking weather is because, oh, don't worry, this is just SSH because I'm running it for the first time. So yeah, so I'm picking weather for that reason, because it's out of the box. So it seems easier to go, hey, you know, you're used to this, you get a new controller, here's some weather, we can do it in Xamarin. And yes, it might well be that we decide to use this API in our project. It would make sense in many ways to have it like that, because you know, that would make sense. You know, you might want to be calling a project, which we might do. But the point of this talk isn't to say how you call ASP.NET Core from Xamarin. It's to go, hey, this is, if you're a web developer, you're used to defining pages like this. You're used to going here to start it. You're used to going here to do dependency injection stuff. You know, it's just doing that kind of explanation, because I think Xamarin is slowly adding more features to make it more appealing to web developers. For example, CSS support. It's not full CSS support, it is limited, but it's still CSS support. And obviously, there's on the other side, you've got these Blazor mobile bindings now, which have a Xamarin.Forms mixed with Razor syntax feel about them. But yeah, Xamarin is still its own technology. It's fantastic, and I think when you know, it's 2020 now. When you're making a project, you're not just going to want a website, you're gonna, a lot of people want an app because yes, you can browse the app from a browser on your phone if you go to a website rather than an actual app. But it's still not the same experience. You want to maybe take advantage of the native features. So it might be, Face ID on Apple for iOS. Sorry, it could be Face ID so that you could authorize your app that way if you wanted to. I think I'm not going to be doing that demo in my talk because I think that's a little bit too complicated. But yeah, it's just the idea that you might want to take advantage of the native features. So that's why I'm doing this, and yeah, we might as well make a demo. If anyone's got any suggestions for anything else that we can do instead, I'm all ears. But okay, we're going to do weather. So first of all, we're going to be sensible and we're going to plan it. So you saw me run it up. It's running on localhost and it goes straight away to the endpoint and we get that data back. So let's go back to Trello. So we're going to call this focus on sunshine, because I love code, sunshine and trains. So if we can do a weather, let's talk about sunshine. We'll make it orange because I like the colour orange. Oh, I need to clear out my boards. I've got ones I don't need anymore. Okay, start with a template. Have we got any useful templates we can start with? I normally just make it myself, but let's experiment. We've got Kanban. Okay, that's what we want really. It's Kanban. Interesting. You can get Swift mode wraps to teach things. That's clever. Okay, so let's do a Kanban template and see what we get. Backlog, designer research to do. Doing code review, testing. What is this? We could use that. What do you think? Should we do a Kanban template or is that OTT? I promise we're not going to spend too long doing planning, only because I know that it's a code stream and you might not want to sit there doing user requirements on a Trello board for ages. But it's just good practice to put these in place. So what do we think? Are we going to do Kanban template? I'll wait a little bit for people to answer in case there's any lag. But yeah, I'll just go with it if I don't hear any objections in a minute. How is everyone anyway? Obviously I've been away for a couple of weeks. But lots happened. I spoke at DDD North on Saturday. That was a lot of fun. What else did I do? I say lots happened. Obviously, speaking at, getting asked to speak at this Focus on Xamarin event was exciting. A few days after my last stream, I actually had a call with James Montemagno where we pinned down a topic. That was fun. We had thought about doing Twilio stuff, which would have been cool, but because there's no official bindings between the two, I didn't feel comfortable producing that on stream. Oh, other cool things have happened actually. How could I forget? So, as you may know, if you've ever seen my intro to Xamarin talk, I developed an app called Body Language Assistant, which uses cognitive services in a Xamarin.Forms app, and it allows you to analyze body language and analyze sentiment in text. Now, it's a very basic looking app, but it's still a good app with a good idea. And Microsoft, my community program manager here in the UK, Claire, who's fantastic, she reached out to me and said, oh, Microsoft are doing a marketing campaign on open source. I'm hoping to get more female MVPs mentioned or covered in it. Do you have any possible projects? So I said, well, it's technically not open source, but it's on GitHub, a public repo. So technically anyone could work in it if they wanted to. I just don't consider it open source because no one else works on it. But I sent it over anyway and she thought it was a really good idea. So at some point, I'll get featured in a Microsoft marketing campaign. That's cool. Then a couple of days later, Claire reached out to me again and said like, oh, hey, I'm speaking to some people in Redmond and they're really excited about your app. Would you mind it being mentioned in the Global MVP newsletter? So, woohoo! I'm doing quite well for coverage lately. So anyway, no one's subjected, I don't think. Let's just check, because mine's just reloaded the chat, so I'm just going to make sure I've not missed anything. Cool. Okay, so we're going to do Kanban. It might be over the top, but we'll do it. How do I use this template? New template. Okay, create board from template. Fine. Fine. We'll do... What should we do? We'll do... Okay, we'll call it something else now. I'll delete that other one. So we'll call it... call it sunny weather. Why not? That'll do. Put it... No, it's not in a team. I don't want it to be in a team. Fine. Do you know what? We're just not going to do that. We're going to go back to the other one. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's pretty awesome. I must admit, I'm surprised, but obviously very happy. Where'd it go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Where are we going to find it? Did it never actually get made? Ah, no, I don't think I ever finished making it, did I? Okay, fine. New board. Create board. Add board. Shiny weather. No team. Orange. Yeah, keep it private. Create board. Cool. So, we're going to want... just do... Yeah, just that. Okay, so... rename that to... backlog. Development. Test, because that's important. Done. Okay. That'll do for now. So what do we want to do? So we're going to want to be quite granular about this. We're going to create the project. Create Xamarin.Forms project. We're going to set up app center CI because that's important. So what do we want it to do? So we're going to want to be able to display some weather. So create basic UI, and we'll go into it and we'll add some notes if we can. There we go. Okay, so let's add a more detailed description. So actually, no, we're not going to do it yet. So that's going to be a do image label. So the image will be, rain, sun, snow, etc. We'll do a label which is the temp in Celsius. We will add Fahrenheit support with a switch afterwards, but that's not MVP. Do you know what? Even that's not MVP actually. So just a label with a temperature in Celsius, and then maybe a button get temperature. Simple enough. One label and a button. We can add images afterwards, that adapt based on the weather and all that, but the very basic is a label and a button. And then we're going to want to set up MVVM. So we're going to create folder structure. Can't spell. What else are we going to do? Create folder structure. Add MVVM helpers library, which I'll explain when we get to it if you don't know it. Let's see, what else have we got? Create view model. Create model for main page. Create model for weather. And will get inspiration from our ASP project. So that's enough for MVVM for now, because that's model. We have the views already. Cool. Okay. That's a few things to get started with. If anyone's got any other things they want us to do, by all means, let me know. So we will say, okay, so we're going to make a new project, and then we'll come back to these. So file, new, it's running, can't do that. Do you know what we're good? Oh no, we can open that in code if we need to copy any code from it. So new project. It's going to be a Xamarin.Forms project in C#. It's going to be called Sunny Weather. Shall create it. Yeah, so this is what I mentioned before about the different templates. So these will come with stuff built in. So I think master details, just like item 1, item 2 and everything like that. But we're just going to do blank for now. We'll do UWP, export all the things. This is where I find out one of my SDKs needs updating. Cool, so we have our new project. Great. By default, it runs on my local machine. That's good to know. So if we just run that just to make sure everything's all right, we should just get a blank page, it's a white page that says welcome to Xamarin.Forms, but we'll soon find out. It's okay. Not now. Oh, fine. Typical. Anyway. I should unload the iOS project really. Oh, there we go, now it's doing it. UWP is a very underrated platform in so much as we always by default, even if we're on a Windows machine, use emulators or remote simulators to test our apps, which I understand. If you're testing them on mobile, you might want to see how they look, but UWP is great. I don't need to, use up RAM when I'm streaming with an Android emulator. I don't need to use network bandwidth doing remote iOS simulator to my MacBook in the other room. Yeah, it's a great choice. So yeah, my thought of the day is that UWP is underrated as a testing platform, as in testing out what you're doing, not. This might ruin stream, if so I'll cancel it. But it'll take a while. But it's running, that's the main thing. Why can I not? There we go, let's stop. Cool, okay. So we've got a project. We're going to do CI/CD now with App Center because that was what our thing was. So done that one. Doesn't need testing, so it's done. I'm going to change these. So in progress. So now we're going to do this part. So as you can imagine, there's a couple of steps to this. Step 1 is to actually get the thing on GitHub. You could host it on Azure DevOps repos, Azure repos if you wanted to, but I use GitHub for everything. So we can do git init. Quick, we can add everything. Ooh. Oh, really? Why is it server? Interesting. I can't read this chat. Let's move it back to. Maybe a bit smaller. There we go. Cool. Anyway. That's unusual. Doesn't normally do that, but okay. See what's going on. See if this folds it. see. There we go. Whoop. Well, this is nice. It's just a blank template and we've already got... Oh! Do you know what? Oh, do you know what? No. We're gonna... There's a reason for this. You'll see why in a minute. Delete... dot git... Oh. Whoa! Whoop. Never mind. That went well. I think this is already set to run as an administrator, but we'll do it anyway. See if this helps. I'll zoom in a sec. I'm just gonna... Oh, fine. We will do it the manual way. So much for command line everything. C uses Luce source repos sunny weather view hidden delete. Will it let me? Huzzah! Okay. Clear that off. Let's make a new one. Because what we want to steal first is, and this is how the professionals do it, right? Is that the right repo? Could be wrong. So if you're wondering what I'm doing, basically before I add all those files, I want to do a git ignore, otherwise it adds a load of things we just don't need. But James, that's what I wanted, Xamarin.Forms. James, all his projects have a git ignore and a git attributes, so we can just steal it. So git attribute deals with stuff like line endings and other bits and bobs, but we're just gonna copy that. We're going to open this in code. Move this over here. So I'm doing this in code because it's just an easy experience for making new files. We're going to do a git attributes. Open that. My computer's not the fastest, so just bear with me. Cool, so if we paste that, and then we want to do the same for the .git ignore. I know you're not watching, James, but if you happen to be watching this on record, thanks for always having useful files in your repos. So slow. Sorry about this. Let's just get attributes. I want this git ignore. We'll get there. Let's check on my dashboard. Come on. Right, so git ignore, that's what we want. This is going to be a big file. But it's useful because it just excludes any of the things that we don't want. Again, click raw. I need to get rid of that follower goal because I'm at 78 now. It's not even up to date. We're going to hide you. Cool, so we're going to copy all that. We're going to... Alright, there we go. Do that. Whoop, that was... There we go. So now we've got those two files there. we can then initialize the Git repository. So git init. So last time when we did it, I think we had about 1,600 files or something. We should have fewer than that now. There you go, 94, much more like it. Git commit initial commit. Woo, we have started. Cool. So at the moment, that's not got a repo set up, so let's do it. Oh, right, so we'll just go back to GitHub. So if we go back here and then go on GitHub itself, new repository, we will call it sunny weather, public, wherever. We'll need to do that later anyway, so might as well tick the box. Cool, so we've done all that bit, we just need that bit. So this is just setting the remote branch, so we're saying the origin, so the remote is this GitHub repo. And then, because it's the first time we're ever pushing this, we need to set where it's going, so that's going to be origin, and then the branch will be master. So that should push it all up to master now, and then in a minute when we refresh that page, it will all be there. And then we can move into App Center to set up CI. It might be CD eventually, but that's a whole other exercise. Ah, okay. Security, eh? Wait for it to be done. Cool. So if we refresh this page now. There we go. Woohoo! We've got it. So we've got the first bit done. Woo! We have started. So now let's do App Center. So appcenter.ms, spelled the American way. You could do this in Azure DevOps, but Visual Studio App Center, I just prefer the experience. So let's sign in. Certainly for Xamarin development, Azure DevOps allows a much more granular kind of control. So if you're an enterprise, you might want that kind of control. But personally for me, my requirements as a hobbyist are pretty simple. So we'll just wait and see what happens. Cool, that count. Cool, so got all our projects here. We're going to set up a new one. So we're going to add a new app. This is going to be sunny weather. Owner is me. So we have to do them on different platforms. So we'll do iOS first. Oh wait, hang on, we'll actually rename that. Of course, because you have to do it on the different platforms. So, let's just settings, edit, sunnyweather.ios, save changes. Cool. So what we're doing, as I mentioned, is CI. So we're going to do build. So you can see here that you've got build, test, and distribute. So build is, as you'd expect, is build. Test can run your unit tests, but also UI tests with the Xamarin UI test framework. Then your distribute is where you set up things for CD, so you could have like a test group, so I could add my iPhone to it, and so I could set it up so that certain things lead to a deployment. So it's in GitHub. Connect to repo, wait for it to load. Very slow. Come on. It's gonna be down here. Sunny weather. Oh, got a message on chat. Okay, we're back for now, I think. Okay, so we've got that branch. So now we can configure the build. So, yep, that's fine. Yeah, we can do a simulator build. If we want to set up release later, we can do. Build this branch in every push, of course. We're not going to worry about signing it yet. And we can't obviously test on a simulator, but that's fine. We'll worry about tests later. And that's all we need. So we can save and build. So that will kick that one off. So that we're building, and then we go back, we can make the other platform. So add new app, sunnyweather.droid, Android, Xamarin, add new app. We just have to keep doing this for the 3 platforms. We'll worry about those in a minute that it was talking about there. We're just going to set up the build pipeline for now. Because one of the things that this can also do, which you saw from the overview tab, is you can set up crash analytics and things. If your app crashes, it tells you why, and just general analytics as well, not just for crashes, which is useful. But at the moment, this is just a proof of concept. Like if we were going to do it on devices, maybe for the App Store, that would be worthwhile. But for the sake of this, we're not going to. Got build and every push, yep. Debug, yep. Don't need to sign it. We don't have any environment variables, so we can just carry on. That's something interesting, build status badge, which we'll come back to. But when you put a README together, you can put build status in. So if you've ever seen those badges in READMEs on GitHub, that's like almost looks a bit like a switch. It's like green or red. That's what that is. So that's building as well. And then again, we'll just do a Windows one. So add new sunnyweather.uwp. Windows UWP. That's interesting. Will it work? I've never tried UWP like this before. We'll soon find out. GitHub. Connect to repo. Sunny weather. See what happens. Okay. We'll go back in a minute and check on the other ones. They build in the cloud, so thankfully it won't be affected by my terrible internet. We did iOS first. something else we can add. Find app icon. Cool, so that built. Woohoo! So we have CI/CD in place. Done. Okay. Basic UI. Let's write some code. Let's do it. So we said it was going to be a label and a button. So we will go back to here, clear this off so it's easy to see. Zoom in. The solution. Wait for it to load. There we go. So we've got all our projects, but we need none of them right now. All we need is this one. I'll zoom in on the page. So when you're doing this normally, you might have multiple pages and stuff. We can just stick with a single page because that's all we're doing for now. We can always refactor it later should we choose to, but for now we'll do it like that. So what do we need? So we'll get rid of all of this. We'll start off very simply. We will do what? We're going to undo that. We're going to run this because we're going to enjoy the powers of hot reload. In theory, this should work with UWP. And so what will happen is that we can work on this app and watch it change. Although UWP might be a bad choice because it's massive. Let's just do that. There we go. So if we go to live, select element, display, track focused element. How do we? Okay, maybe this is a bad choice. We're going to swap platforms. We'll switch to Android. We'll do iOS actually and just see what's going on. Okay, so this might be terrible. We might not be able to do this, but iOS builds quicker. I just like it. So fingers crossed. Pray for us. Just give it a minute to think about it. If this doesn't work, we'll do Android. I was just hoping to do iOS. So what this is doing, which is quite clever, is it's actually talking to my Mac, and if it's missing any bits that it wants, it'll actually download them for you and keep an eye on it. So you can see here it's checking installations and whatnot. What's happening? So if this takes too long or the versions mismatch, how long is it going to take? So we'll just do Android. Android. That'll do. Let's load that simulator because who doesn't love simulators? Okay. Interesting. I would if you'd let it make the message go away. Wow. Tools, Android SDK Manager. Do we need to do some updates? This really isn't my day. Let's just see how we go. See, this makes me so jealous of people with good internet. Cool. Any updates? Tools. That's up to date. That's up to date. Cool. Let's just switch. So can we? I'm sure I've got Android 9. Let's modernize. Come on. Sorry about this. So we'll just stick to what we know. This is taking too long. So first of all, let me run. See what it does. Yeah, this reminds me. I was actually running the Duo SDK like preview emulator on my MacBook last week. That was fun. Come on. I don't have. It's just not my day. Come on. Yeah. What's going on? I don't know. Ah, okay. Do you know what? We're just going to go back to Windows. At least it worked. We might not be able to keep the window on top, but at least it worked. It's a start, right? Cool. So we'll leave that running. We're going to make some changes in here. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to put in a label. We're going to call it, let's see, temperature label. We're going to give it a font size of 26. We're going to give it a font family of, let's see, what should we do? Now we'll leave out font family. We'll do font attributes, bold, text color, we'll do let's see, text color we will do my favourite, CC0000, which is a nice shade of red. I don't get tooltips. Okay. What else do we need? Ah, text. What's it actually going to say? So this is going to say dash for now. That's the default. And then we're going to close off the label. If we save that and open this now, it should update. Should. Item saved. Hot reload available. So it should be working. Or not. Okay, fine. Restart. See, it's just not my day. But now, we might want to move the label around and everything, but this is a start. Yeah, so we've got a massive dash on the left. So, you know what, we're going to move that after the name and the colour. Might take off bold actually, and then we're going to do horizontal, center, vertical is center. Save that. It should not do anything. Typical. Why not got? Just double check. Tools, options, Xamarin, hot reload. Yeah, it's enabled. Strange. Okay. Okay, so that's now in the middle there, but we need it in the middle down there. Is it going to be center and expand? Oh, it's text alignment, not alignment. Try that again, shall we? Horizontal options is center. Vertical center. We try that. At least it deploys quickly. So I'm going to end the stream in a few minutes just because I don't think the internet's performing that well. We've met some of our basic goals and you know, the viewers are dropping in and out because of the internet anyway. But we've learnt plenty today. So let's try this. See what happens. There we go. Okay, so we've got the minus. And we're going to put a button underneath. Wants padding on the whole thing first. So we'll say spacing. What's spacing? So the star is IntelliCode making a suggestion. But we're going to do padding equals 15. Cool. We could give it a background, I guess. Background color equals Adobe color palette. There's a website online. I can't remember what it is. Kim Philpott's got me into it, which gives you some color suggestions. But we'll see how we go. Okay, do you know what? We're going to end the stream there because technology is terrible, but I will keep up the Trello. There we go. That's it, color.adobe.com. But yeah, so all I'm going to do is finish this one. And then I'll keep working through this board. Obviously, because of the time limit of prepping these code samples for the talk, some of it will have to be done offline, but I will update on a regular basis. And once people come back with a suggestion for any other like apps we can do one that's specifically just for the stream and we don't touch it offline. But obviously, for reasons that you can understand, it wouldn't work right now. But thank you for tuning in, and I will see you all very soon.